Today, I'm going to share 4 chameleon projects that can take your husbandry to the next level. Plus, one important warning. This is the third in a 4-part video series on your chameleon journey. The Chameleon Academy motto is learn, understand, pass it on. And this episode is about the understand stage. Let's place this stage at the 1-year mark. By this point, the basics are routine. Feeding, lighting, hydration, observation, you've got these things down. And so now that the pressure to get the husbandry right has lessened, you're able to look around and see that there's so much more that you can explore in the chameleon world. Well, I'm going to give you 4 fun projects that will expand your skills, keep your passion alive, and provide a better life for your chameleon. And I'm going to go ahead and continue this at the park, so let's pick it up there.
One huge thing that can enhance your chameleon husbandry is to get a microscope. Now, you've heard about parasites and you've probably taken a fecal sample to the vet to get it checked. Now, you may be wondering, why is it worth you being able to do your own fecals if you've got a single captive hatched panther chameleon? And the answer is that having a microscope allows you to see what's going on inside your chameleon's body. Specifically, has it picked up parasites? And the fact is that even though we are totally on the other side of the world from Madagascar and where all those parasites are living, we actually have a thriving colony of lots of different kinds of parasites that have come with the chameleons and still are passed around within the community. I know it's mind-blowing to think about that, but all it takes is someone to have access to a wild-caught chameleon to touch something that goes to someone else, that goes to someone else. And that's how the parasites transmit themselves in the wild. You say, well, I only talk to people online. Yeah, but do you ever go into a pet store? You don't know what that pet store employee has been handling before they gathered all your crickets and gave them to you. I don't want to make you paranoid, but anything that anybody has touched, including your crickets, anything you get in the mail, a doorknob at a reptile show, those things could transmit ova, oocysts, and other parasitic material. But this isn't something to panic about.
Nothing to see here!
Parasites are a normal part of chameleon life. In the wild, generally all of them have some sort of parasitic load. It's just natural. And the bodies are designed to deal with a low level of parasitic load. In fact, your chameleon could have parasites right now and you not know it because you're giving such good husbandry that your chameleon isn't showing any signs of sickness. That's normal. And parasites aren't something that you just knock down once and then you go the rest of your life without parasites. Those of us in the chameleon community, we realize that parasites are something we manage throughout the life of the chameleon. We don't have the luxury of knocking them down once and that being it for the life of the chameleon. Now, you could take your chameleon to the vet every year and get a fecal check done and see if your chameleon's picked up anything over the year. Or you could get a microscope yourself. And this will allow you to do fecals every month. I mean, I do fecals every week. And that gives you a month-to-month check as to whether your chameleon's picked up anything or not. Now, I will say, it is rare for my chameleons to pick something up once I knock down the parasite load, but it does happen. And by having my own microscope, I catch the infection before it gets big enough for the chameleon to ever notice it. And that's the key. You see, most people wait until the parasite load has become so big that the chameleon is sitting there huddled with its eyes closed. That is way into the infection, and now you're at the tail end where your chameleon may die. But if you detect it ahead of time, you get it before it gets anywhere near the danger point. And actually, it's very easy once you know how to do it. You just grab the poop, put it under the microscope, scan it for pinworm eggs, Coccidia oocysts, and anything else that may be swimming around in there. And if there's something, you know to take it to the vet. You can give medication and get it wiped out, go on with life. Now, I believe that this is one of the major things that can take your husbandry to the next level. And so I created an entire digital course telling you how to do it. It's hunting microscopic chameleon parasites. And so if you're interested in learning how to do it, I've got an entire course that'll teach you how to do it. And it assumes absolutely no experience. And so you come, don't even have a microscope. It'll teach you what microscopes to get. It'll tell you how to use the microscopes, how to identify the parasites, what medications to use, and how to be a partner with your veterinarian. We are not replacing a veterinarian with this, we are helping the veterinarian and becoming a better partner with our veterinarian to advocate for the health of our chameleon. If you're interested in that education, link is in the description. And remember, this goes for all your reptiles. You've got a bearded dragon, leopard gecko, a ball python, frog. Check for parasites. You might be amazed at what you find.
By the way, if you're already a parasite nerd, I got a link to this cool Coccidia T-Shirt down in the description below. It'll be a hit at every party.
The next thing that I would suggest to move your husbandry forward is to breed a feeder. You know, we as chameleon people, we end up getting involved in insects as well as plants. Well, try to breed your own feeder. There are some that are pretty easy to breed, like dubia roaches, silkworms, superworms, and even crickets. And when you breed your own feeders, you can feed your own feeders, and you know how much nutrition has actually gone into these feeders. Obviously, the ones that are mass producing these feeders, they're not feeding for nutrition, they're feeding to grow them up to a certain size and get them out the door. They are not able to give the variety that you are able to give. And so by you raising your own feeder, you're ensuring that your chameleon's getting better nutrition. That, and it's a heck of a fun project to do. A number of chameleon keepers have started to raise insects to the point where they have pets now instead of feeders. In fact, I've had green banana roaches for many years, and I don't feed them to my chameleons anymore. I just keep them because they're so darn cool. Once again, a love for chameleons expands your world. So consider researching a feeder enough that you're able to keep it, breed it, reproduce it, and raise it up until it's a nutritious snack for your chameleon. Next, consider giving your chameleon a soil floor. Whether it's naturalistic, which just means soil floor, or bioactive, which has the isopods and the springtails living inside of it, adding a soil floor adds another dimension to the ability to create an environment within your chameleon cage. Now, I have to say that I still recommend that beginners start with a bare floor to the chameleon cage. And this is because adding a soil layer adds a lot of complexity. And that's not something that I think is necessary when you're starting as a beginner. And by the way, you don't have to do this. You can go your entire chameleon's life, at least with the commonly kept chameleons, the panthers and the veileds, and you don't have to have a soil floor. Now, what a soil floor gives you, besides a whole lot of fun with isopods, springtails, and planting plants, is it gives you a humidity sink to the cage. And that's why it's also a husbandry element. By having this humidity sink at the bottom, you're recreating the natural condition where the higher you are, the drier it is, but the closer you get to the earth, the more humid it is. And even if your chameleon never goes down to the ground, they are still benefiting from those humidity gradients. Now, introducing a soil floor requires patience, observation, and time spent managing the balance. The worst thing that can happen is that it gets saturated and becomes a muddy mess. And so you need to balance out the amount of water going in and make sure that that water can go out. A well-drained soil is ideal, especially with the way that we hydrate our chameleons. You notice the new Crosscuts bioactive stand that I introduced in the Dragon Strand. It's got that soil layer, but it's got a drain in the middle. And that drain drains into a bucket. This is the perfect way to set up your bioactive system. Now, if you're handy, you can make this out of wood, silicone it, flex seal it, put a drain in the middle, but you got to know what you're doing. James Cross from Crosscuts has made an easy solution. If you're interested in that, links in the description. Adding a soil floor transformed your experience further into creating that entire ecosystem. And my next project for you is to create an outdoor cage. The natural sunlight and the breezes and even the rain are magic for a chameleon. I know we try to recreate that inside, but we can only do so well. And we've done a very good job, and chameleons have lived long lives inside with the equipment that we have available to us. But everyone knows you bring your chameleon outside, it's an amazing experience for your chameleon. Now, this is something that you've got to do carefully because the sun is very powerful and overheating is a huge problem. That chameleon needs to be able to get out of that sun that we're taking him out so he can be basking in. And those natural UVB rays, which are so healthy, can also kill him. And I'm sorry, but nature is just that way. We don't write the rules, we just have to live by them. The key is that you create a safe outdoor environment. You don't just take the indoor cage and move it outdoors, because that's a quick way to kill your chameleons and or your plants. They're not set up for the strength of the sun. If you do that, you make sure you put it into a patio that's covered. But the ideal situation is to consider making an outdoor cage large enough that you can create all those different gradients. I like to do a 4 foot by 4 foot by 7 foot tall cage. It's amazing. You can plant hibiscus in there, a ficus, whatever those big plants are, passion flower, these big vines. Create a leafy jungle in there. And in doing that, your chameleon can go up for the sun and the dry and go down for the coolness and the humid. Add in a sprinkler system and you've kind of got an entire environment necessary for your chameleon to live outdoors for however long your area of the world allows it. My ideal situation, the situation that I love so much, is to have 2 cages per chameleon. One is a large, well-planted indoor enclosure, and the other is a huge, very well-planted outdoor enclosure. That way, the outdoor enclosure can grow up throughout the year, and the indoor enclosure can grow out throughout the year, and both cages are work of beauty, and Chameleon has access to the outdoor conditions, and I can bring him in when the outdoor conditions aren't suitable for him to stay outside. No matter how good our enclosures and indoor environments get, nature is still the gold standard. Even though we're not in Madagascar, most of us have some months out of the year where the chameleon will do wonderfully outside. And finally, I have a warning. And this hits hard, especially at the 1 year mark when you start to feel confident. That's when the collector bug starts to bite. And that's when you start thinking, hey, wait a minute, having one more chameleon isn't double the work, it's just a little bit more. And that's true. And that's the danger of it, because one more chameleon is just a little bit more work, and another one is just a little bit more work, and it creeps up on you. The guideline is don't collect as many chameleons as you can fit in your space, but get as many chameleons as you can take care of with the excellent care. You see, the more chameleons you get, the more your space, attention, and resources get spread across all those chameleons. And the overall care for your chameleons slowly decreases and degrades at a level that you really don't notice. And it's hidden by all the excitement of having another kind of chameleon, which I understand. I absolutely understand that. And I'm here to say,
Stop it. Get some help.
Before it gets to the point where you wake up one day and you realize you're working so hard to take care of the chameleons that you don't have the time to enjoy your chameleons. And if you find yourself in that position, just know that is so common among us chameleon people. We just love them so much. We love them more than is good for us. And for you to protect that enjoyment, you have to tell yourself no.
Bad llama.
Here's the trick. You've got to stop yourself when you still could bring in more. Stop yourself when you're at the height of enjoying your chameleons. We humans are collectors.
I don't need this stuff! And I don't need you! I don't need anything! Except this!
And recognize that just because it feels good to get a chameleon doesn't mean that it's going to feel good to keep that chameleon for the 7-10 years of its life. Guard your enjoyment of your chameleon hobby obsessively. And know that we chameleon keepers are our own worst enemies in this manner. So those are your 4 important milestones and one warning for those of you at the 1 year mark. Now, of course, these apply to us anytime after that and before that as well. But at 1 year, that's when you start to think about these things. These projects deepen your skills, broaden your horizon, and enrich your chameleon keeping experience. Now, what happens after that? Well, in the next episode, we're going to touch on the 5 year mark. In this episode, we talked about the course, Hunting Microscopic Chameleon Parasites, and we talked about the Crosscuts Bioactive Stand. If you're interested in any of these, the links are down in the description. Now, I will say, I hope at this point that you have found a community that you enjoy. There are many communities on social media for you to choose from. Now, sometimes it's hard because there's also a lot of drama that happens on social media. Whether you've found your community or still looking for a group that you can vibe with, You can join me on my other channel, Chameleon Academy Live, because I go live twice a week, and there's a whole community that gathers for those live sessions. You may be able to find your new friends there. Right now, the shows are Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific and Saturdays at 12 noon Pacific. And you're invited. Come, you can ask questions or just hang out with the group. And with that, it's time for me to sign off. My name is Bill Strand. This is the Chameleon Academy. Take care of yourself. Be excellent to each other. I'll see you next time.